Welcome guys to another episode of Make Adventure Happen podcast. In this podcast, in every episode, we talk about one country. We answer some of the most popular questions about this country and we share our own experience in this country. That's me, Kaspars and Una. And today we'll be talking about a country in Southeast Asia, Malaysia. It's a country we have been to a lot, and there were times also when we were going to Malaysia more than to our home country of Latvia.
That's true.
Malaysia is a country bordering with Singapore and Thailand. And speaking of location, I think it's important to mention that Malaysia actually consists of two parts. Most of people know of the West Malaysia, the part of country where is the capital of Malaysia, where is Penang and Langkawi, two of the most popular tourist destinations. But very few people whom I know have heard of the other part of Malaysia, the Borneo part of Malaysia, the east part of Malaysia. And to be honest, we also haven't been there yet.
Yeah, we have been to Malaysia several times, well, quite a lot of times actually.
Like 15.
Yeah, like shorter and longer visits all combined together, but we have never ever been to the other part of Malaysia. But I think we will go someday.
I think we have to go there, yeah.
Someday.
Okay, and now let's start with the questions. Like always, I will go to Google. I have typed in Malaysia. And let's look at the most popular questions about Malaysia this time. Is Malaysia and Thailand connected?
Yes, Malaysia and Thailand share a border. Well, you can travel from Thailand to Malaysia and vice versa because they are neighboring countries.
Yeah, true. But they are, of course, like independent.
Yes,
different.
these are the independent countries. Yes.
Next question I see that people are looking for, I think it's also interesting for tourists, like for everyday tourists. Is Malaysia cheap or expensive? What do you think?
I think it depends. Food is definitely cheap. Transport is cheap.
And good.
Metro is cheap. Hotels, I would say, more expensive side, more expensive than in Thailand. Well, if the cheapest hotels are very cheap, like the cheap guest houses and cheap hostels are very cheap. But if you want like some sort of comfort, then I think it's more expensive than in Thailand. What do you reckon?
I think, like, if you just look at the numbers, like how much a room costs or a bed in a hostel costs, the prices are very similar throughout all of the region. Like, cheap is cheap,
yes,
and cheap is cheap in Malaysia.
Cheap is always cheap.
Like, you can find like a 5-10 euro some kind of accommodation also in Malaysia.
Yes.
But like you said, if you want something more like a better comfort, and if you are looking at certain standard, then
better quality, yes, then Malaysia is quite expensive.
It gets more expensive.
Yeah, it gets more expensive, and also good like Airbnb apartments cost quite a lot. Well, the cheapest ones and the more simpler ones, they are very cheap.
But you know what? I think we should remember that in this like comparison, we are comparing it to the world. To the world, it's cheap, no?
Yes.
It's 5-star hotels for $70 maybe sometimes.
Yeah, well, if you compare it to the United States, then definitely everything is cheap in Malaysia. Yeah, there is no doubt about it.
Okay.
So yeah, Malaysia is cheap.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's go further. The Thailand-Malaysia question. Is Thailand better than Malaysia? I think it depends.
Depends on your travel style and like wishes, what do you want to do and want to see. Before, for us, Malaysia was like a favorite, one of the favorite countries. But now I would say that Thailand is better for me. I like Thailand better.
Mm-hmm.
For me, it's definitely Thailand, yes.
Mm-hmm. I would also agree with Una. I also like Thailand more than Malaysia. At
Now,
the
yes,
moment,
now
like,
in the last.
Right now, yeah.
Yeah.
with this current travel experience and just life experience. But yeah, like if you are looking for a more calm
Yes.
place to stay, maybe live long term or go on a vacation, then yeah, Malaysia is one of those good options to consider.
Yes.
Not without a reason we have
And
been
less
there.
tourists.
Yeah, not without a reason we have been there so many times. I think it's at least 15 times in the last 9-10 years.
Yeah, probably.
Okay, next question. 5 interesting facts about Malaysia. What would be your 5? 5 facts. Easy, short.
There are like I'm not sure how to define it, but there are like 3 ethnicities, 3 nationalities living there.
Multicultural.
Multicultural society, like Malays, Indians, and Chinese. There are 3 main groups of people.
Number 1, that's.
And there are 3 religions, like Muslims for Malays and some Indians. Then there was
Most of Indians are.
Hindus, of course, and Buddhism also.
Yeah.
And probably also Christianity, but it's not the main, I guess.
I think we have never really thought about the religion, but when I'm thinking now, my guess is that it could be also like 10 times more complex because of all the different Chinese religions.
Yes, of course.
And of course, Indians are Muslims and Indians are Hindu and Indians can be Buddhists and.
There are several religions. Yeah.
Number 2.
And English is very widely spoken. I think it's one of the official or official languages.
That's fact number 3. From me, the number 4. I think the interesting thing is also that Malaysia is a big country that consists of two big parts. I think it's a very interesting fact that most of people miss.
And on the other part, as far as I know, there are like completely different completely different people.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's some sort of tribes and some other cultures. Yeah, completely different on the other side. That's what I've heard.
Yeah, that's a fact that I also can't really comment too much. I haven't really researched that, but I think we started to think about that only like this year when people started commenting on our videos that we should go to the East Malaysia, which is less conservative, less religious, and we were like, oh wow, like then we started looking up like videos of other people's vlogs. And it truly looks like the east part of Malaysia could be something different. Okay, we skipped already. So multiculturalism, religions, English is super widely spoken.
Two parts, and one more fact is that one of the weirdest flowers on earth grows in certain parts of Malaysia. The stinky Rafflesia flower, it's really big, well, like, I don't know, a size of a small child, small child, perhaps. A big flower, and it smells.
The fact number 5.
Yes.
What is very famous in Malaysia? And there is one thing.
Flower, this stinky flower.
I think, but what I would say is.
It's even on the bank note, like it's one of the banknotes.
Una says flower, I say Petronas Towers.
Ah yes, of course. How can I forget?
Petronas Twin Towers, the tallest twin towers in the world, located in the capital of Malaysia, in Kuala Lumpur.
They were
epic.
Yeah, I think they were the tallest building in the world maybe 10 years ago, but of course now it's Burj Khalifa.
Yeah, yeah. Um, Definitely a place to visit.
Yeah.
Every time we are in KL, we go to the
KL
Petronas.
is Kuala Lumpur for short.
Mhm.
Short for KL is short for Kuala Lumpur, and Kuala Lumpur is the capital of Malaysia.
The next question: what are the most popular tourist sites in Malaysia?
Kuala Lumpur, Petronas Towers, the Stinky Flower.
This thing,
um,
I think we can speak mostly about the west.
Langkawi,
Langkawi Island, because spend there like half a year.
Penang Island, Georgetown in Penang Island, Cameron Highlands, where there are tea plantations. Ipoh, it's like
Colonial.
colonial historical small town, well, small city.
Sorry, we have a video on Ipoh.
Yeah.
At least a few videos from Ipoh.
Yeah.
Go and watch them. In short, I would say Ipoh is fun for a few days, not fun for long stays.
The islands
On the
on the
east of the west side.
Yeah. The islands. What was the name?
Perhentian.
Perhentian Islands. Then there's one more island on the other side of peninsular Malaysia.
Next to KL somewhere, yeah?
Yeah, well, I don't remember the name, and I didn't Google it before this podcast.
And I'll look it up. But one more place that is popular in Malaysia for some is Johor Bahru.
Yes, because it's really close to Singapore, and people, when they travel to Singapore, they stay a couple of days in Johor Bahru, and there's a Legoland, I think, in Johor Bahru.
Yeah.
That's really good for families. I think if you're a family with children, smaller children, then you can visit Legoland.
And
If it's still there, it was there. It was 10 years ago we saw it. Well, we were in Johor Bahru and we saw the signs that there is this place.
I cannot find your island. And speaking of Johor Bahru, it's also a popular place if you are a Singaporean, because Singapore is expensive and Malaysia is cheap, and the people love to go from Singapore to Johor Bahru for shopping because it's cheap. And then come back.
Malacca is another popular town.
Yeah, Malacca.
It's a historical town with Dutch buildings.
Did you find your island?
No, because there's like the internet is so slow here. Can't find it.
The island is lost.
Yeah, the island is lost. The island is lost.
Okay, while the internet is loading,
Yeah.
the map is loading. Let's look at the next question. Why tourists love Malaysia?
I think they love Malaysian food, and the fact that there's like the culture is so diverse, and all these religious buildings which are quite interesting, like mosques and Chinese temples and Hindu temples. And I think Malaysia has some of the best restaurants in Asia. I think so.
Do you mean the Malaysian food, Indian food, or what?
Just dining in general. Well, while there's not so much nightlife. The restaurants are pretty cool.
Yeah, they are good, but I always want to compare to Thailand, and Thailand has more. But
of course, Thailand has more, and
food is good, and food generally is very good in Malaysia, and it also is related to the fact that the country is so multicultural. That there are these three big ethnicities: Indian, Malay, Chinese, and that means that also food that is available in many places. You oftentimes have these three options.
I think that was Pankor Island.
Pankor Island might be a popular, but I think for those few tourists who have been to Malaysia a lot. Let's jump a little bit back. What people love about Malaysia? You said they love
Food.
food. I say they love the fact that people speak English, and that
Yes.
makes traveling in Malaysia super simple. Like super simple. You can always find someone who speaks English.
And I think people like Malaysia because it's less popular than Thailand, and a lot
Yeah,
of people
yeah.
like really seek when it's like which places, which countries are less popular, like more of the beaten path. So Malaysia is kind of like that.
Yeah, equally like developed
Yes, even more developed, I think.
with good prices,
Yeah,
but less.
less tourism.
Next question. Let's go to the next one. Is Malaysia good for families? I guess it is, but I would say that Malaysia is even more like it is better for people who are interested in this unique Asian culture. I think
Yes.
that's would be my like,
Diversity.
that would be my first recommendation. I would first of all recommend Malaysia to these people who are interested in this
Yeah.
old Chinese and
Yes.
Indian, Malay, this mix, this
Yes,
unique mix.
Exactly.
I love this like the Chinese old Chinese cities and all these old Malay mosques by the sea and stuff
Yes.
like that. But families.
Yeah, I think so. Well, Malaysia is more of a destination for adults, like, and I'm not talking about like young people, like in their early 20s. Well, for some, of course, it depends on the person, but I think Malaysia is more for those who like museums, architecture, culture, food.
Go to Penang for food.
Yes, some beach, well, quiet beaches, let's say. It's not really, I think Malaysia is not really for those young people who want to have fun. I don't think they will have fun in Malaysia. And so I think Malaysia is a good destination for like mature adults, serious adults, and also for families, but I think Thailand is better for families, but Malaysia is also good.
I also kind of feel the same, yeah. Yeah, I think we have answered this.
Yes.
In our opinion, it's more of a mature adult destination. There is more fun things and adventurous things for families in Thailand, Bali.
Bali?
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
maybe.
Okay. How many days do you need for Malaysia? I think it's a question from a like tourist perspective. Like you're going on a holiday from Europe, let's say, like most of our viewers. How many days do you need for Malaysia?
I think the answer is like almost generic, like 2 weeks. Like if you are a European, you mostly get 2 weeks of vacation time per like vacation usually. So 2 weeks is what I would recommend. 2 weeks maybe like Malaysia and like 3 days in Singapore because that's really close. 2 weeks.
Or maybe you fly in and out of Singapore like go to Malaysia on a trip.
Yeah, Malaysia plus Singapore 2 weeks is great.
Yeah, 14 maybe. Starting from maybe 12 days to 15.
To 15, 16, 17. Yeah.
If you are visiting only the west,
Yes.
if you want to combine with the east, I think it needs more.
Yeah.
But we can't say from our experience.
I would say 3 weeks is for 2 parts. 2 weeks is for Singapore and Malaysia.
And while we are at this like itinerary part, let's try and like offer our own itinerary. So what would these like 2 weeks look like? I think let's say you're flying in KL.
Yeah.
Spend maybe how many? 2-3 days
Yes, 3 days.
to see the like modern capital city. Then you go to Cameron Highlands.
Yes.
Beautiful nature. This is where the tea grows. Let's say 2 nights. Then maybe Ipoh for 2 nights or 1 night on the way.
Maybe, yeah.
Let's say one night in Ipoh to see a little bit of the temples. You have seen the nature, you don't need it anymore. So 5. Further,
Penang and Langkawi.
Penang and Langkawi. Penang and Langkawi, depending like what you want, more culture in Penang or more beaches in Langkawi. Beaches in Penang are not that nice. And then you fly to Singapore. And then fly back to KL.
That's it.
2 weeks. Done. What is the best months to visit Malaysia? We have been in all, more or less.
We have been, yeah,
January,
more or
February,
less.
March. I have been in May,
More or less.
June. Yes.
When there's less rain, I think the rainiest month is November. So don't go there in November. That's for sure. I think January, February is perfectly fine.
I see the same also on the internet the other time.
Maybe the end of December, but I'm not sure about that. I think it can still rain, but definitely not November.
Another question about that's important for tourists. What is the best mode of transportation in Malaysia?
Buses, trains, flights, ferries. Buses are for shorter distances because I think it's not really comfy on a bus for a long distance. So like 2-3 hours, if it's 2-3 hours
Before to Penang?
Yes, then it's no 2-3 hours is the bus. More is the train. Like KL Penang is definitely a train journey. Flights, I would say, if it's like, I think it's KL Langkawi, it's a flight because there's like you need to take a bus or a train to the upper part, and then you need to go to find a ferry because ferries are from several places. Yeah, so KL Langkawi is the flight, and then maybe Langkawi Penang is the ferry.
If Langkawi Penang, I actually like the ferry.
And maybe Penang Singapore, if there's the direct flight, then there's the flight. Or Singapore Langkawi.
Yeah. So buses, trains are more comfortable if you can.
But you need to book them in advance, at least 1 week in advance. Well, at least
if possible.
For the most popular journeys, like KL Penang KL needs to be booked like a week in advance or even more.
Yep.
Unless you don't unless you're prepared to take like this train at odd hours, like that stupid o'clock.
Yeah.
Like 5 a.m.
We were in such a position once. And we decided to go on another day. By the way, there are flights also to some very interesting destinations in Malaysia, and if you are ready for some more adventurous trip, if you want to visit some more different places than other people go, Penang and Langkawi are not the only places where you can fly. You can go get a flight from KL to I think at least 10 destinations or like 7 destinations within Malaysia. Most will be on the East Malaysia, but there are also on the West Malaysia places where you can fly. Like some interesting places, like the city from where you can go to the Perhentian Islands.
Yes, I wanted to mention that. Yes, that maybe if you want to visit some unique place where less tourists go. Well, less tourists go, then maybe you should fly to that city. Well, I don't remember the name.
I also know, but
and fly to that city, explore that city, and then take ferry to Perhentian Islands. And as far as I know, the water there is very beautiful and clear. Yeah. Maybe you can Google the city.
I'll go with the next question,
okay.
And then you can check it out.
Yeah.
What is the city near the Perhentian? Money question. How much money does a budget traveler need for Malaysia? Budget traveler, so let's start accommodation. Let's say 15 euro, $15, something like that. Food, $10, easy, $10, 10 euros, so 25. Then what else? Maybe a bus for a few hours. So that makes it $30, €30. Something for maybe some fun activities, maybe some 10 euros for rent a bicycle maybe, or rent a motorbike. That makes it $40, €40 for a pretty good combo. Sorry. And if you want to do something more, then it depends on your interest. Like, what are you going to do? If you are going to do to an expensive amusement park where ticket costs 30, 40, 50 euros a day, then include that in your budget. But otherwise, something like 40 euro a day will be good to have very good time in Malaysia on a budget. If you are traveling with like more comfort, then of course, like, you can multiply it by 2.
I think the city is called Kota Baru, and from Kota Baru you can travel to a port town of Besut, and then you can take a ferry to Perhentian Islands.
We haven't been there yet.
Yeah, yet. Wait.
Going next time. Next question. What else do we have? Best area to stay in Malaysia.
KL, Penang, Langkawi.
That's it.
Those are the best.
The best.
Yes.
Like I said, Ipoh will be boring if you stay 2 weeks in Ipoh. Okay.
That's for those who want to travel to Malaysia for a longer period of time.
We answered this already, but let's go one more time. Is food expensive in Malaysia?
No, it's actually one of the cheapest countries when it comes to food. Yeah. Street food, local food. Yeah.
If you want expensive Western food, it's gonna be expensive.
But still quite, still cheaper than in Thailand, I would say.
The Western?
Yeah. Or no?
Depends. I don't know. Yeah. Depends, like always. Generally, yeah, Thailand have a higher level of the Western food, and accordingly, it's gonna cost you higher. But you are not in Malaysia for a burger.
Yes, exactly.
Where in Malaysia they have the best food?
Penang.
One answer. Penang is an island, and Georgetown is the city where you stay in Penang.
And then I think KL.
Yeah. And in Penang, in our experience, we have been there like 5 times. It's the best to stay in that old town or somewhere nearby. Maybe if you want some more peace, look for a quieter street, but somewhere in Georgetown, because I can't recommend the beach side. It's better go somewhere else.
We went there a year ago and it was quite deserted.
Yeah. Another question that might be interesting for, I think, mostly women. Malaysia, you see, is a Muslim majority country. It's a multicultural country, but still, it's majority Muslim. And so, a question: what to wear in Malaysia? For men, it's almost like you dress at home in Europe. Maybe don't go in shorts. In some places you may not be allowed in shorts. Women?
I would say, as there are like Chinese people living in Malaysia, so it's not like really like 100% conservative like it's with other Muslim countries, but still I think no super short shorts, no like tiny tops. I think dresses are fine, like as long as they're not super short and revealing. Yeah.
Wow, I just read one very interesting fact. The question that there was is, can I wear yellow in Malaysia? And I thought like,
Yes.
why not? But turns out that they may be like
Symbol.
considered a symbol of protest and threat to security, and you could be fined if you are wearing yellow. I guess it doesn't really depend. It applies to tourists, but
Yeah, I think tourists they would not really. I'm not sure actually.
let me check this
Well,
interesting fact.
I don't have yellow clothes, never, but I didn't know that.
Is this about Malaysia, really? It's from 2023.
Well, it's illegal to wear camouflage. That I know.
It's in
yes.
Barbados, Jamaica.
Ah, okay.
My mistake. This
But no.
This, I guess, is not about. I don't see anything about Malaysia here. But yeah, like generally speaking about clothing in Malaysia, I can agree with Una that you're just dressing like more modestly. And
No,
that's
yeah,
it.
it's
Malaysia.
in Malaysia. The yellow clothes is banned.
Wow, since 2016. Wow.
Yeah, and
And I was going in a yellow T-shirt.
no, you were in a yellow. You were wearing a
Yellow
yellow
shirt.
T-shirt in 2014. I remember that. Before
When it was still legal.
we don't have any yellow, and we haven't since 2014.
I made it just in time. So okay, one last question.
But I think in Thailand, yellow is like a super nice. I think it's something to do with the king, and they often wear yellow.
You are supporting King.
Completely different, you know.
Don't mess up the countries.
Yeah. Don't make this mistake.
The last question, very touristy question. Do you need a visa for Malaysia? Most-
For Europeans and Americans, no. But now you need to fill in some form online before traveling.
Mhm.
They've changed the rules. Since I don't know 2 months ago.
Yeah,
2 months ago they changed this. Now you have to apply for some. No, you just need to fill out a form. I think.
we are recording this at the end of 2023. So since the end of 2023, you need to fill in a form,
Yeah.
like arrival form. But no,
But it's not a visa.
it's not a visa,
It's
and
just-
most
yeah.
likely you don't need a visa.
Yeah, and you don't need to pay for this free. Well, they stamp your passport and it's completely free, and you can stay up to 90 days.
Yeah, but it depends from your nationality.
Yeah.
And speaking of our own experience, since 2014, we have been coming to Malaysia since 2014, like more or less at least once a year. And in our experience, Malaysian immigration for us Europeans, for us Latvians, is one of the most easiest and relaxed and like no questioning, and yeah, it's just a nice experience arriving to the country.
I was asked an onward ticket once, but I think that was because I had been in Malaysia several times that year, and that's why they asked.
Mhm.
But normally, if you're a tourist coming for the first time, you won't have any questions or problems.
Yeah, most likely.
Yeah, just don't forget to fill out that online form now.
Check it online.
Yeah, check it online. And the same is for Singapore, by the way.
Yeah.
Malaysia and Singapore, they just added this rule that you need to fill
To
in.
sum it up, always check the actual
Yeah.
rules before you travel, because
Yes.
things like this happen. Countries introduce new rules.
Mhm.
You may be asked something new that we weren't, or
Yes.
you weren't the last time.
Yeah.
Things like this happen. To sum it up, I think we can safely say that Malaysia is a great country for tourists, but maybe just not for all kinds of,
Yeah, not for everyone.
like, yeah.
Because if you like partying, you will not like. You will not have a super great time partying in Malaysia.
Or if you like extreme adventures, like it's also not really.
Like rafting or skydiving or paragliding or you name it, then Malaysia is not really the place for you. And also if you are like looking for super beautiful beaches, like you won't find like Maldives type of beaches in Malaysia. Well, except for Perhentians, maybe that's the closest, but still.
But we haven't found.
Yeah.
Maybe you will find.
Yes.
So not for parties, not for extreme adventures. Other than that, a fun, interesting location for people looking for cultural experience.
Yes.
More relaxed, more of the beaten path experience.
Yes.
That's it.
Yes.
Until next time. Bye.
Right.